Hey guys, Dave with the Wyoming Project again. So it's about 11 degrees out here. It's really cold. The double barrel stove that we're gonna build in this episode, as you can see, is just about there. So follow along as we build this stove. It's basically a double barrel stove with a heat exchanger in the top. It actually has side venting pipes out on the other side. You can't see it yet, you gotta watch the video. But those pipes will allow us to blow air out into the shop and sort of move air around. My goal is to keep the stove as close to the wall as possible without setting the place on fire, so we don't have to angle it out and eat up a ton of space, because we don't have a lot of shop space here. But when I got out this morning, it was 4 degrees, so it's time to get this thing done. This project has spanned across, 5 weeks now. So you'll see a really, big change across the videos, especially early on to now. Stick with us. I did a bunch wrong. I highlighted all in the video. I talk about it. I got some right. I haven't welded in 12 or 13 years, so bear with me. I know my welds are crap. I know my fitment was terrible, but we have a stove. In part 2, you're gonna see this thing roll smoke. We're gonna find out where the holes are, where the problems are. We're gonna get some additional bracing in there because these legs are terrible, spoiler alert. And we're gonna get the blower cage built up, lined out, and then the blower attached. So get ready, it's a big project and it's coming fast. To get this moving along, I'm gonna show you what's in the kit I got from Amazon. It's a bunch of cast iron parts. We'll go over what each one does, sort of how they go together, and then we'll start to go through the process of actually building this thing. So yeah, let's get started. I'm super excited. Let's make this happen. Okay, so here's the kit we got. It showed up like this. I didn't do that. Basically, I've opened it. I just took a quick peek inside. So if we open it up, it comes with a cast iron door. It has a latch, so we'll mount this to the front of our barrel. Has a little damper, so we'll get all this traced out and we'll cut up some holes. That down. We got some instructions. Who needs instructions? We don't need instructions. We're from Wyoming. Bag of screws, couple legs. This will help us set it up off the floor. There's actually 2 in there, a couple springs to help hold the door closed, and then here we have a damper. So you want to put that on the top, head out to your flue pipe so you can regulate your exhaust gas, helps you control flow and temperature. So that's our kit, it's everything we got. So we will get this traced out and start getting this together. Okay, let me show you guys what I've done here. Basically, I've put the door on, measured left to right. Got it pretty close. I'd say it's almost spot on, but there's just a little bit of discrimination. It's like an 1/8 inch off either way. So whatever, I'm not going to sweat that 1/16. Can't really tell. The instructions will tell you, not that I read the instructions, we don't do that, we're from Wyoming. So the instructions will tell you to cover this up. I'm going to leave it, it's just potential extra airflow. And I moved the door up just a little bit for here because I'm going to do a cold air intake. So basically you can get a 2-inch piece of pipe, thread it in there, and then you can feed that outside. It will suck air in from outside instead of sucking air in from the room and shoving it out the chimney. So that way you're constantly adding hot air to the room and not taking hot air out of the room and pumping it out. Cold air, definitely the way to go if you want to get the maximum amount of heat. But anyway, long story short, so I've put the door on. I used a marker to start. There's a little bit of grime on this. There's some degreaser and stuff that I cleaned it off with earlier that sort of started to destroy the marker. So what I did is I got a really sharp edge. I took the leading edge of a screwdriver and opened this door up, and I've scratched in, try not to move it, I've scratched in the edge perimeter around which I want to cut out the door. The marker looked like it worked for the screws, so I'll just drill those holes out. Not a big deal. I'm going to drill a hole and I'm going to use a jigsaw and go around the edge and just sort of cut that. I think that'll be easiest, and then I've sort of marked in here where I'm going to cut this out. You need to cut this because there's a screw that sticks in the back that needs to slide, plus you also need to get air in there. So I'll cut out the rectangle for that. So I'll bring you guys along, you guys can watch that. But yeah, let's get the door cut out and in place. Okay. Okay, so I got the door set back on. I have a little bit to clean up here on the edge, which I'll go ahead and mark, and then I'll get cleaned up and bring you guys back. There's a tiny spot at the top too that you probably can't see. Holes look good, so I used an 1/8 inch drill bit to drill the holes for the bolts. If we have to enlarge it, we will, but they're all lined up good. I'll drill these two just for whatever reason the marker didn't show up, and then I'll cut out this other hole. But all in all, looking pretty good. You want to make sure when you cut this that you get the door back and you grind away a little. What you don't want to do is reach in and cut your hand or skin your hand. Like, you've got enough flange here to play with that you can cut it back a little bit so that you're safe. So it's okay to cut a little proud of the line rather than cut short of the line, kind of like I did. Okay, so we got this hole all cut out. Let's put the door on. See how we did. Line the holes up. So that looks alright. That doesn't look too bad. Hopefully you guys can see that. Plenty of ventilation there. The door open. And yeah, I think if we can live with that. There might be a little bit here. We'll grind down later if we have to, but for right now, I think it looks pretty good. So I think we'll go with this. We'll get the door mounted up, and then we'll get to working on the next pieces. And just like that, we have a hole. Let's put a bolt in it and go. So these are the bolts, just super simple, just Phillips head bolts. Like, God forbid we in America move away from Phillips head or whatever. And then just a nut, bolt, nut, feeds through, tighten it down. That's really it. So I will get this on here, drill the last couple holes. For this leg, we'll flip it over, drill some more. I'll throw some sweet beets or something over the top of that, and we'll go from there. All right. Hey, okay, so small change of plans. Rather than flip it over and just go right to the bottom feet, while I had it this way, I think you can see it, the sun is so bright. Yeah. So while I had it this way with the access in the hole, I went ahead and started putting the top bracket on. So this is the bracket that will hold the other barrel on top of it, before I flip it over. Sorry for all the ums. So I'm just doing the same process I was on the other side, just drilling holes and putting bolts in it, and then I'll tighten it all up. One tip that I always forget, I've managed to remember this time, I don't know how I got lucky, I guess, but whenever you're assembling anything, leave everything loose. So drill your hole, get it in, drill your next hole, leave those loose so you have a little bit of play. Up, down, wiggle, left, right, whatever way you wiggle, I don't know. But so leave it loose so that you can feed the other bolts in relatively easy. If you crank it all down and lock it all tight, then you're going to really fight and struggle sometimes. Where if you leave it loose, you can move it, get the new bolt in, and then once all the bolts are in, tighten it all down. Makes life a lot easier. I forget that all the time, so just a little quick pro tip. Not that I'm a pro, but pro tip. So I'm gonna finish this up. I'm gonna get all of these here drilled and bolted in, and then we'll flip it upside down and we'll go from there. Okay, thanks. Okay, so we're back. I'm gonna put the lower feet on. I'm gonna probably pre-drill some holes here while it's this way. I'm just gonna mount these up against the rib. This one here is just a smidge up off, so sorta in the middle. What you see here is I just took a piece of string, put a little weight on it, using it almost like a plumb bob. So they have these anchor points in them. So I'm just gonna sort of put mine in, make sure that the anchor point lines up, sort of like that. So it'll give me the quick. Make a little mark. I'll drill out that hole, get a bolt in there, and then I can just round that up and press it up against this rib, and it'll tell me that it's good and square, it's good and straight, and then I can drill out the rest. I might just try to do it this way rather than flipping it over. There's a stovepipe jack that goes in the other side. I was going to use it as a hand to get down in there, but it's only 6 inches. This barrel's a little burnt, a little dusty. You can see my hands are already dirty. So I'm going to try to use this big hole to get this mounted up and get the other side mounted up and just do it down in from the top. But let me get working on this and see how it goes. But I got my mark. This little trick worked out great. If you guys are ever doing this, think about doing it. It's quick, it's easy. It took a minute. All right. Hey guys, welcome back. You'll notice a wardrobe change. This build's been stretched out over a couple weeks. Just it seems like something else has always been a priority just for right now. I mean, I wanted heat in here, and it's going to be a game changer. It's going to make a big difference. It's just we sort of needed some other things, and the heater that you saw, and I don't, was it our second or third video? I don't know. Way back then it was a month ago. It feels like forever these days. But that thing's really gotten us by. I'm all out of propane today, so hence the Carhartt's insulated. But we've got the double barrel stove setting here, so I just need to line it up to make sure that everything's straight, so I can get ready to mark the lines and cut the holes for the 6-inch pipe that'll connect the two. So once I do that, I'll use that 6-inch hole in the back to get through, so that I can make and tighten the bolts for the feet and the top one. The bottom one's already done. I use the giant door hole to get that in, but the top I need a way to get in there. And then once that hole's cut and all those are lined up, I'll then start putting in the 2-inch Schedule 40 pipe to make the top 2 rails of the heat exchanger. And I'm going to show you a diagram of this yet to come. I'm just giving you a little foreshadowing. So we're going to have 2 rows of Schedule 40 2-inch pipe to blow air out of, and then we'll have our side venting. It'll be 3 or 4. I just need to see how much pipe I have to make sure. 1.5-inch angled pieces that will blow heat out to the side here. That will make with the tubing bender, which is just off, that you can't see out of the camera. So let me get working on this. Let me get this measured up. We'll get these holes cut and drilled, and I'll bring. Okay, so I have the flue piece. Well, I guess it's a flue piece. The cast iron piece that came out of the kit. That one of the two that connects the 2 barrels together. I have it laid up here. I'm not being super precise, but I've eyeballed it just to make sure that it's sort of lined up with each one of the feet, so there's an equidistance between the feet. You know, just use the pen with distance apart. So I'm going to trace a line inside, and I'll use that to make our cuts. So there we go. We've got a mark drawn on our barrel. I'll go ahead and get the top barrel off. It's just sitting here. It's not actually connected to anything. So I'll lift the barrel off, get a hole drilled, and get the jigsaw out and get to doing a cut. Okay, so I took the back leg off. Maybe I put that on premature. I'm not really sure, but I did it so I can get the jigsaw in and expand this hole a little bit. It's kind of small. I don't want there to be any additional blockage. Plus, I gotta get my hand in there, and I just kind of want to clean it up. So I took the leg off. I'm gonna go ahead and make the hole a little bit bigger using the jigsaw, and then I'll put the leg back on. Plus, for those astute observers, I had the leg on backwards.
Left in the pool of my own mess. When I said
So I'll get the leg back on. It's just as simple as mounting it up, sticking it back in the holes, and then I'll use this hole here, stick my hand in, and put the back side of put the nuts on the bolt, and bring you guys back. Okay, so be smarter than me when you do this. This is just sitting on here, but as you can see, I've put the foot back on and reversed it around, and I probably should have drilled the holes first. It looks like we might get lucky and get away with it, but it would have been much easier if I'd put this on and mounted this up first. I just wasn't thinking. So I'll run around, drill a couple of these holes. I'm gonna mark them and then drill them, but if you're like me, before you put the leg on, drill the holes. Okay, so I feel like I'm always putting these gloves on right now. So basically, they're dirty, so I don't want to keep touching the camera with them. Anyway, I'm rambling. Stove's coming together pretty good. So basically, the bottom is together. There really won't be many more changes to this piece. So let's say it's halfway. Basically, you guys can still see. We put the door on earlier. All the feet are on the right way. I really think they look better the other way, but as far as lining up with the barrel, I tried them both ways. Having them lean in a little bit. I didn't see that in the instructions, admittedly. I didn't read the instructions, so that was probably part of the problem. And then we got our flue pipe in. So next step, we're gonna get the other barrel on. We'll get this flue pipe lined up, and then it'll be hole saw and going to town on that, on the blue barrel from the top. And then we'll get out the tube bender and start bending up some tube and start lining some stuff up. So that's when it's going to start to get fun. It won't be so tedious and really feel so long, but I'm glad to at least be halfway done. So sweet, let's keep rolling. Okay, so back again with a template, which has snow on it because it's snowing outside. It's really cold, hence all the layers that I'm wearing and why we're building a stove. Can you guys see my breath? I can see it. Anyway, so this piece of cardboard was, yeah, if you've ever moved, like we're still moving in and there's still stuff. So I unpacked a giant monitor that I used to edit these YouTube videos. It's one of those TV boxes, you know, the big rectangular boxes. So I just sort of ripped a chunk of that out and then laid it on here, drew a circle around, and then actually I took the jigsaw that you saw me cut the hole for the stack in the red barrel just a minute ago. I took that and just ran around and followed the line and made this template. So now I'm gonna refine it a little bit. It's still just a smidge big, so I'll get it down. I'd like to get it where it almost fits inside. This barrel's had a rough life, so it's not quite round, so I don't know if that'll work, but I'll get it close, and then I'm gonna go ahead and make holes in the template, and I'll transfer that to the barrel, and then we'll drill through with a 2-inch hole saw that I have, so we can shove this schedule 40 through there, measure it, and cut it. Anyway, that's a long way around, but that's where we're headed. So if you see me using this, just a cardboard template out of an old TV box that I'm using, so that way I can make the holes line up on the front with the holes on the back. That way, and I don't have to cut the whole barrel open to do it. Now, are we gonna dodge that bullet when we go to do the sides? We'll see, I don't know, but for now, this should at least make these pieces line up if you want to go for a simple heat exchanger template. Though it didn't work in the pegboard, let's hope it goes better. Okay, so I don't know if this is going to work, but this is what I'm doing. That's the approach I'm taking, at least right now. So I've made 2 small holes in the top of the template, and basically I can stick a drill bit or 2 drill bits in there and press that up against the rim. So that lets me know that this is all the way over and it's snug. I've also, you can see this line here. So I got out the T-square, the adjustable T-square that we used in making the jump box, the plyo box for CrossFit. If you've seen that video, I talk about using an adjustable T-square in there. So basically there's a seam, I don't know if you guys can see it, there's a seam on this barrel. So I line the T-square up with the seam in the barrel. I put two drill bits in, jam it over, and then the other line on the template lines up with the T-square, and I know everything's lined up. It's the best I got right now. I'm kind of winging this as I go along. So I've never done this before. So I'm hoping this works. We're gonna find out. I'm gonna measure up this template. I'll give you guys the measurements for the 2-inch Schedule 40. I'm gonna try to get 3 across the top and 3 across the bottom. That'll give us 6 there. And then probably another 3 that blow out into the room. Now, I need mine to blow to it's gonna face this wall, so I need it to blow out to the left, so they'll be curved. So there'll be 6 that blow forward out through the stairs, and then 3 that blow out sideways into the room and into the shop area, sort of to help expand the air so I can get it close to the wall. I don't wanna angle it out, I don't wanna eat up all that space. So let's see how this works. I don't know, at the very least we're having fun, we're playing with metal, which is always great. So yeah. Okay, so I measured off 3 holes. I haven't done the other 3 yet, I just did the top 3. But basically I'm just gonna follow the same lines down. So I'll trace the outside lines down from here using my T-square, or I'll rotate it around. I haven't decided which yet, but I really just wanted to see how it looks first before going too far. So we have 3 2-inch holes. Look all right. I don't know that they're perfect. I don't know that, as cold as I am, that I'm really stressing it either. So let's just sort of go with it. I don't think at the end of the day it's going to be perfect. So there's a bunch of junk on the top of this still, even after degreasing it, which is making my pencil mark a little hard, or making my marker's life hard. So let me get the drill bit and drill these holes out and show you guys. Hey guys, back next day. I worked last night until I couldn't feel my hands. I got down to like 6 in here last night. It was freezing. Like even these insulated Carhartts just didn't matter. Being out of propane, so the little mini heater wasn't running, so there was just no heat in here. And it being non-insulated, forget it. But so what I've done already this morning, I took the template that I showed you guys before and got some gray spray paint, sprayed the holes, and then I tried a metal hole saw, and the DeWalt metal hole saw for me, just the drill bit that holds it in the center, the one you saw me use for the pegboard, it's supposed to be made from metal and wood, just tends to bend and then it just gets to be a mess. So I'm done with that. I'm gonna fire up the air compressor, I'm gonna get out the plasma cutter, and we're gonna plasma cut these holes. So with the spray paint, I'm just gonna follow around the edge, do my best to make it as clean as possible, and we'll see what happens. Let's hope. That way we don't have a whole lot of welding left to do when we go ahead and do final assembly. So let's see what happens.
I'm gonna change. You make me pick up the broken glass. Don't want it to be in vain, no. But to slow things down and clear my mind, it's like leaving a toxic friend.
Okay, so you guys saw me cut the holes in the barrel. I'm not the most artistic guy, so some of these are a little off. They're clearly not circular completely. I mean, they're circular, but they're not a perfect circle. So when we go slide the pipe in, we're definitely going to have some filling we're going to have to do. Just ultimately going to end up being a little bit uglier and not ideal, but at this point, it's so cold, I just want to sort of get this moving along, you know. But anyway, we got holes, so I'm excited about that. So I'm going to get this flipped over, drill up the other, plasma cut the other holes. So I'll spray paint it again. I'll plasma cut the other holes, and then we'll get the pipe out and I'll bring you guys back. So here we go. Okay, so this is a 2-inch piece of Schedule 40 pipe. If you go buy some of the store, just tell them you need a stick. Basically, it comes in, I think it was 24 feet, and I had them cut it in half so I could bring it home in the horse trailer. But so there's a 12-foot piece here sticking out of this barrel that you can't quite see the rest of. So the holes have lined up, so the template worked well in this. In this case, the template worked well. So I'm going to cut off and probably leave a 1/2 inch to 1 inch out of each end, and I'll come back and fill weld all the way around it. But first I'm gonna mark this like I said, a 1/2 inch to 1 inch. I just haven't decided which. I'll let you guys know. And then I'll do the same on the other end, and I'll use that as my measurement, and I'll cut all 3, and then we'll get those welded in, and we'll start going from there. So, working well. Okay, so we're back. Slight problem. And on this channel, like, what Whitney and I really want to do is we want to show you guys what it takes to live here, but we also want you guys to learn with us and grow with us. And I mean, we're not going to hide the mistakes we make from you guys. We're going to tell you when we don't get something right. I don't know if you can see these pipes, the heat exchanger, which I was super excited about. I'm still excited about it. Once this is covered, you won't see it, but I guess somewhere in the mix, I got the template wrong, which I was also excited about. So the template, I guess, was off. It's worked. I couldn't figure out why this pipe, I knew each pipe was the same length, and I couldn't figure out why that pipe was sticking out further. Now I know. So the front is level, and the back is like this. So the pipes are in crooked. So this pipe just is traveling a shorter distance is really what we're down to. So I don't know. It is what it is. We're going to put some brackets on this. We're going to put a blower on the back. It will still blow air through. It'll still look straight on the front side. So it'll be our secret. Don't tell anybody. You know, just you and me. We'll keep this between ourselves. But yeah, so I make mistakes. I'm human. We'll get the rest in. I've got the barrel sort of tilted up towards you guys because I'm starting to work on cutting in the stovepipe for the bottom. Once we get that, we'll probably throw a fire in the thing. I want to see what's leaking out of this and that, just so that we can touch some pieces up. I also want to burn some of this junk off. The inside's kind of grummy. It stinks. So I've got the door open, just tired of dealing with the wind. Yada yada. Done whining. Let's get the stovepipe in, and we'll go from there. Okay, I wanted to give you guys a quick update on where we're at. So both cast iron pieces are attached to both barrels. You saw me do this one. I put the one on the blue barrel, exact same process, cut it out with the jigsaw, went in, zipped in some holes to add the bolts. So those are in. And then I ran out to Tractor Supply and I got some of this black stovepipe. Basically it was a 12-inch piece. I had two, I had a 6 and I had a 12. The 6 was sort of pre-riveted and it was just so tight I couldn't get it onto the top bracket, so I went and got a 12-inch piece and cut it down as the kind where you actually like put it together yourself. So cut that down. I think it was 3 3/4 inches here to here, so it's sitting down in there real nice. Hopefully it doesn't leak. We'll make a fire and we'll try it in a little bit, but for now it looks like the two are semi-joined together. We'll have to still get the holes in the bolts in for the top piece to be mounted to, but we're starting to get there and we're getting close. Very excited. Okay, so I think we're at a good stopping point for today. I was really hoping to be done today, but by the time I ran to Tractor Supply, got some other stuff, and then there's another big project going on that ate up a bunch of time that I just didn't really expect today. So this is as far as we've got. So the top barrel's, I don't want to say mounted, but the stovepipe in the back's connected. The flue pipe at the top is in. I didn't show you guys that just because it's just like mounting the stovepipe jack in the back that we did on the red barrel. So nothing revolutionary, just the same sort of cut a circular hole, drill it, and bolt it all in. So all three of those connections are made. We have 3 of our heat exchanger pipes in, which are good. I did make an error in the back, so they're straight across the front, but somehow I inverted the template when I went to do the back. I love templates, and I'm apparently terrible at them, so whatever. So these in the back are actually angled down a little bit. This one here's a little bit lower. It's down right around in here, and then this one's up, and then that one's almost straight across. But in the front where you're gonna see it, it's fine. In the back where it's gonna be covered, no one will ever know. It'll be our secret. But I've taken, and the last thing I did today, so the next step that we're going to do tomorrow, we're going to take some 1.5" tubing. We'll get out the tubing bender, which I'm really excited about. I haven't used that thing in 8 years. But we'll take it, we're going to bend some bends in, and we're going to have 3 ports that come out on the side, because the stove will sit the other way in the room. So this heat will blow out underneath of the stairs. The stairs are actually right behind you guys. So some heat will blow out through the stairs that way, through these 3. We'll have 3 on the side that will blow heat out this way, and then I'll probably put maybe 2 more down here so that we can blow heat straight out into the room as well. Getting close, we made a bunch of good progress today. It's just really slow just because I have a ton of other stuff going on, but anyway, I'm done rambling for tonight, so I'll pick you guys back up in the morning. I don't know if you guys can see me, but as your first look at sort of how she's coming together. So all 5 of the main tubes are in. I just got done welding on it. You can tell it's a little hot. But yeah, all 5 of the main tubes in that are going to blow to the front are done. Everything's welded closed. I did a really bad job with the fit up, so anybody out there that wants to make fun of my welding, I definitely deserve it. It took me a long time to really fill in the gaps because, like I said, I just sort of free-handed threw the plasma at it. I'm not an artist. So I've got the sides marked up for the 3 tubes that are going to blow out the side, and I've grinded off some of the grime in the back. So I'm going to get that marked up. We'll get the side tubes in, and I'll bring you guys back when we get out the bender. Okay, so we're back. A little unlevel. Guess we're gonna have to shim. But anyway, so I've got 3 holes, plasma cut in the sides. We'll call them holes. They're sort of hole shaped. Again, not an artist. But these are the side vents that the blower is going to shove the air out and around into the room. I'm hoping it makes a big difference. I don't know, just sort of an idea I had, seemed like fun, and it gave me an excuse to use the bender. So these 3 holes are in place. I'm going to cut 3 holes in the back. You've seen me sort of cut holes, so nothing crazy there. Just getting out the plasma cutter and cutting some holes. So we'll get those 3 holes cut in, and then we've got to magically figure out the bend angles to get these tubes in. So shouldn't be too bad, but I've said that about a bunch of this project that's been bad. But anyway, so we'll get it figured out. I'm really excited to get moving along. After that, we've just got to build the cage to hold the blower. That shouldn't be too bad. Those should be fairly straight cuts or easy angles. So let's get these 3 pipes in and get moving. Okay, so we're back. Hopefully you guys can see it. I've got some 1.5" pipe in the tube bender. We've got some 1.5" holes cut. You saw me use the plasma cutter to cut those. I haven't used this tube bender a whole lot, I'll be honest. I've had it for years. I barely ever used it. I haven't done metalworking in 8 or 10 years, so please be gentle. My welds are ugly. My fit up was terrible. I know all of that. I know all the things that I've done wrong. I see them. I'm just trying to move through this quickly. I'd like some heat. We've got the door open to deal with the fumes. If you ever get barrels, get food grade barrels. There was one an hour and a half away that had honey in it. I should have made the drive instead of getting these with the old used oil in them. They've been horrible. It stinks in here. But anyway, so at the end of the day, hopefully we'll have heat. Not the end of today, but at the end of the project today. Anyway, I'm rambling. So the tube bender has the tube in it. I'm going to adjust it as best as I know how. We'll probably have to make a bunch of cuts to get it all lined up and situated, but let's bend some tube and see what happens. What's the worst, you know? We end up with some bent tube. This just doesn't fit. Whatever.
I saw how you came and went, fell in and out, then back again. It felt like you were heaven sent. Someone I love slipped through my hands. All my thoughts and
We got a bend. See what happens. Okay, so just fighting lighting out here. It's terrible. So whatever. The tube is in, and if you can see behind me, here it is where it sticks out right here. So it ended up sticking out way further than I thought. The tube bender really elongated the length of the pipe, and I had added 2 inches to it. So Whitney came out, gave me a hand. She didn't want to be on camera, mainly because she's wearing my Carhartts, and she's her words, not mine. She's super skinny and beautiful. Looks like the Michelin Man. But anyway, so I had added 2 inches to this length of pipe here where it bends around. So we've been cutting chunks off of that and feeding it through, and finally we were able to get a screwdriver in and pry it around and pop it out. So I've got this sort of squared up, so I just keep playing with it a little bit. So I'll get this squared up, get it marked. I'm gonna take the Sawzall, just go ahead and chop it off here, and then I'll take and mark it down here, and I'll Sawzall it down here as well. I'm not even gonna take the tube out. I'm not gonna mess with it. It was such a rigmarole to get it in. But I don't wanna leave this much tube sticking out. I don't want somebody to walk in and get caught and get burned. So I'm gonna pull it in tight. I'll probably leave a ½ inch or so stick out, like I'm fine with that, but there's probably a good, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches sticking out down that far end. So we'll cut that off, whatever. It's just part of making this thing. We'll just lose the pipe, not a big deal. We've got enough to finish these other 2, and then we'll start to weld up the cage for the back. So that might actually fall to part 2, I'm not sure yet, but for now, let's get this pipe cut. Okay, so we have the last pipe in. Nothing's finished welded yet. And I didn't do that for a reason. So I didn't weld everything in just so in case I had to move a pipe to get another pipe in and feed around and whatever. That wasn't the case, but just in case. So I'm gonna get these lined up so they at least look somewhat presentable. I ended up elongating a lot of these holes to feed the pipe through. So again, I'm gonna have to fill weld. My welds are gonna look terrible. I get it, like my fitment isn't great. I have some of the tools. 1, I'm not the greatest with them. I don't use them enough. 2, I don't have quite enough tools. So it's like, I have enough to be dangerous is where I'm at. But so if this is something you want to do as far as double barrels go, totally doable with just regular, just straight tools. If you had a welder, angle grinder, you could cut the holes. You don't need a plasma cutter. And then some sort of saw to cut, or you could use your angle grinder to cut straight pipes. You could do a heat exchanger straight through. These pipes, while they're at an angle here, they're straight on the other side, by the way. I get it, it looks terrible. The point of this channel is that you guys get to come along and you get to see the mistakes we make. You get to learn from us. You get to see the successes we have. So it's learning to homestead together, and we appreciate you guys coming along. We appreciate you joining along. Throw in the comments what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see. You know, your experiences with, maybe you built one of these, like how did it go for you? What did you find? Are there some tips and tricks? Let the rest of us know. Hopefully we can start to really all learn from this. This is my first time ever doing it. I've definitely butchered it. It's definitely it's a Frankenstein, if you will. So, but anyway, I'm done rambling. Let's get these pipes welded in. We're gonna throw a fire in it. We're gonna see where it leaks and we'll patch up the leaks. Okay, hopefully you guys can see me. Hopefully you can see the stove. We got the door on. We got the heat exchanger pretty much built. So we've got all 3 side pipes pumping out. It didn't really go as well as I wanted. Admittedly, I've never done anything like this before. I haven't welded in 12 or 13 years. So on the whole, it's together. I'm pretty sure we have some holes, you know, in where I had to do all these giant fill welds in the front and in the back just because my fitment was terrible. I'm just really out of practice. And to be honest, I don't know that I was ever really that good to begin with. So, hey, part of homesteading, you learn, you get out here, you try, you have fun. I had fun, like, so does that count for anything? I hope it does. But, so there's these three here, all funnel back in. In the next episode, what you're gonna see, we'll get some supports on here because these feet that came in the kit are just garbage. Now, I don't know if my barrels just had a really hard life and they don't line up well. I'm not really sure what's going on. I've got a bunch of dents and dings and all kind of other problems in the barrels, and I think that's adding to the problem. I've tried the feet both ways, and it's never really lined up real great. So I've got some 1x that we're gonna build the blower cage out of, the whole funnel piece that gets everything in. So I'll cut a couple chunks of that off and probably just weld some feet on there and have this thing sit that way. It doesn't really seem like it needs to hold a whole lot of weight. I'll leave the legs in just for aesthetics, whatever. It's cold. It's 8 degrees. I really want to get this done. My hands are freezing. I really want to get this done and rolling, so I'm not overly worried about perfection. We'll build another one in the future. We might do it a little bit differently. I've got some ideas off of things that I learned here, but let's get this one in. Let's get this one working. So we'll call this it for part 1. Thanks for sticking with me. If you made it this far, like, subscribe. It really helps the channel. I really appreciate you guys. So in the next one, you come back to see this thing roll and smoke, and we'll get her buttoned up and finished, and then in part 3 we'll get the full installation in. But thanks again, and I'll catch you guys soon.